day, so I might sound a bit strange. And I think my camera's gone slightly off. I'm going to have to sort this camera out. It's getting on my tits. There's a polite way of talking on Jules Ann. Hi, you Bandit 600. Heart. I can't see the hearts. Let me see if I can put this on there. Right now, before I do anything else, I've reset all the computer, and I'm hoping nothing's going to crash. I do need to say this to everyone listening to me now. Right, I'm grateful for all the donations coming in, they're supporting us at the moment. Don't ever think I'm not grateful to you, because I am. And I know we're all skint and we're all struggling, but this is about our rights and taking back control of this country for the benefit of us, of the people, right? And that's exactly what we're doing. So we the people, as it were, and I've got my little booklet there somewhere. There it is, the Constitution of the United States of America. It's beautiful, that is, right? And it is a we the people element to it. And I'm going to sneeze. One. Good afternoon. Good evening. You see, it puts me brain in reset. I've got to pick something up and show you something. Don't forget. Oh, I've got to show you this lot. Right, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Really important to like this. And secondly, get it out there. The first thing, really important, is the subscriptions. We're now up to 7,980. I think we need another 20, and it'll kick over on this channel on Rumble to 8,000 subscribers. And don't forget, people, Rumble is going to be the place to be in the future. Right, so we're the early adopters. It's going to take a while, but we will get there, I promise you. So like, really crucially important. I'm going to look in a minute. Currently, my screen says no likes. I know that's wrong, because you're all going to hit the button. If you're watching on catch up, hit the like button. And don't forget to share. Right, the more you share, the more you care. Sharing is crucially important, because people are coming towards us. I had a conversation today with someone. I won't say who he is, but he's a fireman, a serving fireman in Kent. And he sent me an email, and I read through the email, and he said, I can see everything and why. And he said, you're the only person who's made any sense, right? And he put his phone number on it. So I rang him. And he went, I'm gobsmacked, you've rung me. And I said, listen, I'm just a normal everyday person. There's nothing special about me. Except I love the law. And he said, yeah, but I find it so dry. He said, but when I listen to you, it's quite interesting. So I said, listen, he wanted to know where he could get the best information on our Constitution. And I said, Hamlin Lectures. It was set up as a trust for people in the best judges, chief justices, Denning, freedom under the law. And it's all online, and it's online because we went and said, hang on a minute, because don't forget Cambridge University took it over and took it offline, and it went against the principles of the trust. And we were the ones, you were the ones who contacted the trust, and they said we didn't know that. And they checked it and they got it all back up. Those lectures are crucial because, like I said to the gentleman I spoke to earlier, those lectures are crucial for a particular reason. They are lectures of the top professionals, right, explaining to you what the law is, what your constitution and what your rights are, right? But the lectures are for lay people. They are not directed at lawyers and solicitors and barristers. It is for you. And it is a fantastic resource. And that's one of the reasons, just to let you know, I've got some more of this, but I'm going to show you this now because it's, let's see if I can pull this out. Just in case anyone's watching. Right, so if you want some ivermectin, I have now got the 20 ivermectin tablets, USP 20 milligram ones, these ones are. I'm going to pull them out and have a look at a minute. I might even pop a couple. It's got expiry date 2027. That's a long expiry date, right? So if you want these, first of all, I'm going to send them in minimums of a pack of 6, right? and they are £15 a strip. At the moment, he ain't charged me any more for 20 milligrams. He may put the price up. If he does, and it's not down to me. So it's £15 a strip. You need to send me an email to graham.moore@protonmail.com. This is a molecule, not a drug. And again, it has marvellous benefits. So it's £15 a strip, right? I can't remember how much it works out a tablet. It's not a lot. It's about, I think, like £1.50 or whatever, right? Each one. And again, if someone had cancer, I'd be telling them to take 1 pack a day, right? But they also have to take fenbenzidole. They also have to take apricot kernels, and I would also use DMSO, right? And there's another substance you can put with DMSO, which is some sort of dye. And I've read online from doctors, it absolutely works, right? So, but then again, this is just one part of that, and there's many things it helps you with, including if you take it with, what am I looking for, the word? I need to go and have a look and see what it is. It'll be on there somewhere. But there it is, right? So if you want some, and it won't go, it will be gone within, I don't know, as soon as possible. I just need to make sure everyone's aware of this. You need to send, and it's really important you do this, because I only do it for the people who watch this show, right? You must, and the reason I know you watch the show is because you do exactly what I tell you, right? So here's the first thing. You must send it to my email address, graham.moore, MOORE, @protonmail. You must have in a subject header, because that's how I search for it, Ivermectin, right? It's really important that you do this, because otherwise you send me a message and you don't do that, I don't see your order or your request for it, right? You must put how many strips you want. So if it's 6 or 10 or 20, whatever strips you want, it's £15 a strip. I then send you the ivermectin, because you watch the show, zinc. That's it. Well done. Lou Becker. You then, right, put your full name, your full address, including postcode, right? And I will send these off to you. And normally I put a little note in there to the payment instructions, and the payment instructions are literally on the description of this video, right? So that's where you need to sell it. Don't send it anywhere else, because that's where it goes. And like, I don't make money, and anything that I do make money out of. Let's see what these look like. There you are. There's one. There's another one. So I've even pulled them out in front just to make sure you know what I do. Right, these are billions of doses have been taken of these. Right, so let me just put these down. Right, that. Right. The only side effect that I've had is when there's a knock on the door. Because they say it's a dog wormer. It's just a joke. It's a joke, right? Hopefully you all heard that, right? So there they are, 20 milligram ones, not the 12 mil. Again, expiry date 2027. So they don't really go off, right? So there they are. So if you need any and you want some, or you want some with a long date, there it is, right? A minimum of 6, and then so you get 6. I'll pack off 6, and I'll send them to you, and it's £1. Hang on, £15 a strip, right? So a strip there, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 10 in a strip, right? £15. So I think that's £1.50. Unless my maths is completely shit. And again, it's a molecule, and it can help you in many, many different ways, right? It is a fantastic, don't forget, the person who found it won a medical Nobel Prize, right? So just to make sure everyone gets it, right? Again, share the video, hit the like button. I'm now gonna hit the like button on here and see where it's got to. We've got 46 likes already. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel on Rumble, etc. And again, I'll go through a few things with you tonight, but there's the information that if anyone wants that, ivermectin is also used as a horseworm. Is also used as a horsewormer. If you think I'm going to start neighing, hang on. I can't do it. Someone's got to be able to do that. I used to know someone who neighed, right? And they done it so good. I said, do me a favour. We were sitting in a restaurant. It was a woman, right? I said, I could eat a steak as big as a horse. I said, tell the chef that. And she went, everyone in the restaurant was laughing. She sounded like a fucking horse, right? And that was it. Not that I eat horses or would ever eat a horse. That's not the thing that I would do, right? So, Cavos 96, Graham, have you chatted to Mr. Blue? Who's Mr. Blue? You're not talking about the Blues, are you? You know what they used to have in the 1960s, 1970s, early 80s? Everyone knows what a blue is. You didn't know what a blue... I never touched them. I promise you. Right? I was hyper enough as it was. Dewormer for dogs too. Slimming is out there saying hello. He's just done Slimming's just done a no for me. John Godley Harding, how you doing, son? Juicy and Lucy's out there, hopefully, and I keep meaning to ring my favourite captain. And there is a lovely female out there, right? And I keep trying to say to her, listen, just come on this boat, right? And I'll make it legal. Captain Tim will marry us on the Monday, right? We'll stay on the boat all week. I'll kick Tim off, right? And then if you don't fancy spending the rest of your life, you can marry us on a Monday. And after that week, if you don't fancy spending the rest of your life with me, he can divorce us. So Tim went, I don't think I could divorce you. I said, Tim, you're the captain. You can do anything you want. Right? And he was like, oh, all right then. That's it. So I am sort of sitting here. I've done a lot of work today on different subjects. We have, again, a seminar on the 28th of June in Northern Ireland, right? And I need people to start pushing that information out there, etc. I have asked someone to do a little thing for me. What I don't want to do, let me see if I can bring this up without going back to the thing, but I've just booked all the flights up. No, he sent it to me on an email, so I can't bring it up on there, but all the information is on there. But really, I needed, no disrespect to wee Jimmy, but we've got a standard for doing it, which so people will start to recognise that as one of our seminars. And don't forget, the seminar technically is not political, right? I'm just explaining to people, especially people in Northern Ireland, there are two flags. You've got the Ulster flag, which is the George Cross with a crown on it, and the Ulster and the hand of Ulster, and then you've got the other one, which is the independence flag, right? And I mean, we propose self-determination and independence for every single nation, and get rid of the British. Right? The British Union is what's causing the problem. You can see that going on at the moment. They're trying to protect their oligarch. Is Captain Tim in here? Captain Tim, are you in here? I can't see him. If you're in there, Captain Tim, let me know, and I will say hello. So don't forget to follow Captain Tim's channel, because there's a few other things that we're going to be doing. Good evening to you, Captain Tim. Is he out there, Captain Tim? DD, that's good news. Taffy Pat. What's good news? DD, when I voted in the council elections and I put I do not consent Ashby versus Y70 on it, they must have counted it as a spoiled ballot. They will count it as a spoiled ballot. It's when the spoiled ballots get up here. What they're saying is if you're not voting for a candidate and you put some other mark on it, They put it, but what they've got to do is they have to, by law, count every one of them. So when you're a candidate, at the end of the thing, that they'll pull all the candidates in and they go through it. Now, what happened at Runcorn and Helsby? That's a few hundred of them, or 100 of them, and they was going through them. And then when they was challenged on them, the returning officer said, and I quote, right, "It's not up for debate, mate," right? And then the person arguing said, "Oh, yes, it is. That's the whole purpose of this," right? And then I think it was the assistant attorney, returning officer, went, no, we do all this. Do you know what I mean? So it was, everything about that was, that they're just so arrogant, the people, and they think they can steal your rights. And what we're doing is standing up and saying, no, you can't. And by the way, Ashby Worshipp's White specifically said that if you don't stand up for your rights or use your rights, you've lost it, right? And you must present for a remedy if your right has been abused, because it's a private right injury. And that's exactly what we're putting across. Just to let you know, I've had a number of interactions with the respondents today. They're all gearing up for this directions hearing. The police have now, the police legal representative has now contacted me and said, you referenced this in your petition. Could you tell us who this police officer was? And I'm thinking, well, you know who it was. It's your fucking cozzer, right? But I've sent him the detail, his email address. Now he's going to be questioned because this is going to court, right? So they now have to explain why, when he, and by the way, and it was a special term they used. I'd have to go and look it up for you. I'll tell you what he was. Bearing in mind, he's telling me, now, let me have a look and see where I am. Who's Mr. Blue? Hi, Mr. Last call to the defence of the realm, Mr. Blue. We have the remedy, law series. Tyranny and treason. A last call to the defence of the realm, Mr. Blue. Boar of England. I don't know what it means. Legal system, constitutional law. I'll have to look at some of them. But no, I haven't had a look at him and seen who and what he is. But I do need to go and have a look at this. So we've booked our flights for the Northern Ireland. Let me just bring this in. Postmaster. I'm hoping that this person has now seen our petition. Yes, he's opened it. So the person's name, I'll say his first name is Gareth, but he was, so just to make sure everyone's aware of this, his title is False Elected Official Advisor, right? So his sole job is to do with election interference and the candidates, etc. And never have I literally. We also made an election complaint. I don't know if people remember me saying on their actual website itself, right? So I just want everyone to understand that they've started to respond. Now they're going through the petition. So you've got, one of them said, "Have you got a legal advisor?" I felt like saying, "Yeah, I have." Yeah, this is an election petition, right? Anyone can bring an election petition, even a constituent member. I wish I had one that would step forward and say, "Listen, I will join a petition." Right? For the simple reason, if an elector stands forward and says, "I'm an elector, I voted for him," right, and I want to know where my vote went, because what happens is there's lots of things that happen, but you can go through all the whole of, when you go into a polling booth and they mark your name, they put a number on the back of your ballot paper, they give it to you, you go and do it, right? That's where they mark your electoral number on the back. You can ask for an anonymous one, but it's much better to have your number on the back. And here's the reason why. You can track it, right? So when you say, "I voted for them, where is my vote?" right? And then when they do the main count and they find yours and they say, "Oh, it's in the Greens pile," but they're communists. I didn't vote for them. I voted for the English Constitution Party, right? I voted for the rule of law, and you've deliberately stolen my vote. That means you will directly receive some form of compensation, right? Because you need a remedy to that, right? So just to make sure everyone's aware, that's what you can do. And again, for anyone out there that is stepping forward to be or to make a statement for us and be a witness, etc., and especially in relation to the leaflets, there's nothing to worry about, right? So you're not going to be called to give evidence, right? Because it is such a simple statement. And I've got one in front of me, funny enough, that someone else sent me earlier, but I can't actually, because his address is on there, show it, right? But it is, right? I, blah, blah, of address, and then he gives his postcode, right? Did not receive a leaflet that should have been delivered by the Royal Mail on behalf of the English Constitution Party and clearly marked election communication. Statement of truth. I, blah, blah, believe that the facts stated in this witness statement are true. I understand proceedings for contempt of court may be brought against anyone who makes or causes to be made a false statement in a document verified by a statement of truth without an honest belief in its truth. Now, it's fairly, if you're sitting there and you're waiting for one of our leaflets and you didn't get it, and these other people start stepping forward, which is what's going to happen when this petition is advertised, after June the 13th, the judge will set the court date. Once he does that, it is advertised. By the way, we have to pay for that. It is advertised in the Runcorn and Helsby area. Once that happens, people will be asked, and again, we're going to be asking people to step forward and to, one, do a statement of truth and send it to us. And plus, we're going to need the actual wet signature document from you. So at the moment, we've got lots of them, and we're moving forward. But don't anyone be concerned. This is really simple, right? Because the Royal Mail are saying we did a big investigation. I'm just letting you all know they didn't do an investigation, right? They lied, and we're asking to see the statements from the individual walks, right, and the managers. Right, we want to see their statement, and that's what an investigation is, right? You take statements of them people, and then they come back and say, none of that's been done. And the reason I know that is because it was done too quick, right? And this is major, right? That we can prove that they are saying they delivered every leaflet. We are saying, no, you didn't, right? And you only need one person to stand up and say, I didn't receive one, but we've got lots of people coming forward. But the more people that step forward, the more that they will regard this, especially as that leaflet was so important because it had election communication on it, right? So it is a criminal offence not to deliver that leaflet when they have the royal warrant and they are the ones who should, by law, deliver that. By the way, it's law. They don't have to deliver it, right? They approved the leaflet. Right, so there's no issues with a leaflet whatsoever. They should have delivered that leaflet. We believe, this is my own personal opinion, I probably skipped the whole lot. Right, so that's £890 or whatever it was that you all donated for them leaflets, etc., and via your membership fees. And you're disabled, you're retirees. You believe in the rule of law. There's no option for us but to challenge the election. And when you understand what they did in the actual election itself, and that's just the Royal Mail, and then you've got the police, and then you've got the returning officer. So there's three, if you want to call it that, heads of terms of the petition, and I can argue every point, and I intend to, right? And the most important point is this, right? The number one most valuable thing that you've got is your right to vote, and your right to vote for any candidate that you choose. And if they steal your vote or do something in terms of electoral interference, which is what they've done, that is a serious offence because it causes you what's known as a private right injury. including me as the candidate, but you. So there's two things in universal suffrage. This is in international law, this is in domestic law, and certainly in our constitution. It goes all the way back to the first Statute of Westminster in 1275, chapter 5, that states freedom of elections and what a serious offence it is to interfere with that, right? So again, they've got someone who's going to be standing there. They're all being cocky in the background. I'm going to be arguing constitutional law, and it's going to be very difficult for them to get out of, right? I don't know what the judges are going to do. I've showed you a previous judgment. Well, there is a really good previous judgment from a judge who said our election system it would make a banana republic blush, right? So for an election court judge to say that, it possibly is. And this has been going on for years and years and years. It is systemic, and that is why, with all this cheating going on, that the communist parties, and by the way, that includes the Conservative Party, right? Conservative, even Reform UK. And the reason why Reform are just as bad, right, is because they're not even acknowledging what's going on here, right? A party who believes in electoral reform and the reform of Britain haven't said a word, right? I think that's quite serious. I think it's quite telling, that Sarah Palin has not even responded, right? If it was me, I would have responded. And even if I said, I've got no objections to a recount, right? A response, but they're not, because they're back in the system, right? It's really important that people understand that. Let me just have a good look on here. So there's a few things that I was going to try and show you. Did someone say that Captain Tim is actually in the chat? Well, I still haven't seen it. I'm looking for him to pop his head up in the chat, because I didn't know if he had a rumble handle or not. Sue Ellen, good evening, Brian. Liber, we have had a considerable donation for for what we're doing at the moment today, and I'm really grateful for that donation. You know, you are. We need as much help as possible, and again, we're going to be going out. So myself and Charlie Staples are going out to Northern Ireland, where we'll be speaking to the Irish there. I have no doubt. And again, through Mark Atwood, we will be doing another one out in Southern Ireland. But we've got to raise enough money to make sure. What I mean by that is for the seminars. So when we start advertising the seminars, they've got to get out there. There's still plenty of people out there that don't get the difference between being British and English. And that's something that people really do need to understand. Goonerman, why has no one in Parliament demanded arrest for treason at Defence Supreme? Why didn't the police investigate? There's a lot of things that people don't actually get. Let me see if I can bring something else up on the screen for you. Let me get rid of that one, because I don't want to accidentally dox him. If you see a little dot, it's because I'm raising your messages up. This is the Mr. Blue someone mentioned, but I don't know who it is. What I don't want to do is start advertising someone I disagree with, right? So I'm not suggesting the bloke is. Let me have a look. There's a lot of information on there, right? I'll have a look at that later, right? But we do want more and more people talking about the Constitution, right? It's crucially important. And what I'm going to do now is go back to let's see if I can hit this one. There is something we need changing on our website, the ECP website. So if Steve is watching me, just as a reminder, because I've been distracted all day. I kept meaning to send you something, and then it went pear-shaped. I will show you in a couple of minutes if I remember while I'm actually live. Let me have a quick look at this, because I'm going to try and bring up. It might be better if if I show you where it is first. Let me put that down here. I've been sneezing today. Let me. Right, so this is the Daddy Dragon website. And you've got the written and unwritten common law constitution bound by oath. That's a good one. But what I'm going to is the blog posts, and I bet I can't see it on here. Understanding lawful declaration of rights, contract, pen, petition, America. There's a load of stuff I was going to show you on this tonight. The British are the problem, licensing of Fabian, socialism exposed, revealed to socialists, the fourth British Empire, the truth about the European Union. There is one on here on the Defence Union, just to show how long ago we did all this. Intervention by written submission. What happened in the independence movement fight, the Cape State English Constitution, withdrawal of the United from the European Union. Where is it all? There was one there about the Defence Union. I don't know if I've got a search function. I can't even remember if I've got a search function on it. I probably haven't. Right? But there's a few things I wanted to show you. Let me go on to this one first. Which one's this one? Petition, contract law, flags, live video. If the English common law constitution, English independence leaflet, Steve Todd's Jim. Again, we weren't going to leave anyone behind. He is such a lovely fella and got stitched up. This is what we... Do you remember I said a letter was published? Just to make sure everyone knows it. Your website, page, countries, area does not, blah, blah, blah. Let me show you this one. Share this tab instead. Right. It was actually shared. So the letter was published on the United States, the State Department's website, an English and the English versus UK and the British fundamental error. I noted your speech on rights and commissions report and bring your attention to the proclamation on Captive Nations Week, and this was in 2020, so 5 years ago. Firstly, you often conflate the English nation with the British Union. This is erroneous. It is crucial you understand the difference between England as a nation with a common law constitution and the British Union, which has no constitution. England was not tyrannous towards the New World, America. In fact, the War of Independence, 1776, was because of the English, Scots, Welsh, and Irish and other European nationalities, now calling themselves Americans, wanted the same rights as an Englishman. The British Union then attacked what is now known as the USA. The British Union, and by the way, the people who assisted the Americans at the time were the Russians. The British Union, not the English, attacked the USA again in the War of 1812, then continued their attacks with socialist, Marxist, communist, Nazi allies in 2015 through to now, conspiring to subvert the USA Constitution. It was a War of Independence in 1776 that started the attack on the English common law, constitution and the rights of the English nation, contrary to the Acts of Union of 1706, 1707 and the English Bill of Rights, 1688, Declaration of Rights, 1688 and the Convention, 1688, all of which are legal consequence of the Glorious Revolution. The British Parliament started to undermine the English Christian constitution, whilst the Americans won. The English at home were and are persecuted and slowly relieved of their inalienable rights or unalienable rights. The English are truly prisoners of the motherland. As Tim often calls me, I am a whinging pom, right? But yet still academics, policymakers, lawyers refer wrongly to the British as your allies. They are the snakes you invited in, and then they bit you and continue to bite you. I am an English constitutionalist, persecuted by the British for standing in an election, fired from jobs for believing in England and my unalienable rights. Arrested outside Buckingham Palace for petition on Her Majesty and as encouraged to do so by my Bill of Rights, 1688. Blacklisted from employment in the UK and savaged by the state. We, the English, are ignored by America. The English common law constitution is beating heart of the American constitution. If our constitution dies, what happens to yours? Remember, the British do not have a constitution. Remember, the British Union is not a country, but is a political union, no different in its nature from the USSR, the Yugoslavian Union, and the European Union. The EU had no constitution. They tried that. The people said no. They then renamed the European Union Constitution and called it the Lisbon Treaty. The English people had no say. The British finally had a constitution until the 31st of December 2020. Now is the time for America to speak of England, the English common law constitution and the unalienable rights of the English, being denied those rights by the British Union. Will you support an English parliament? England is the only country in Europe without its own parliament. It's actually true. I hope I have not bored you with the plight of an Englishman. President Trump is the first president in my lifetime that I say President Trump is my president too. Lastly, the person that stopped slavery in the world of the common law jurisdiction was an Englishman, a tailor from Durham, England, a layperson in the law that self-educated himself as I have. He fought for the black slaves of the world. All slaves of the world. He went up against the British in English courts when there were still English judges. None exist now. The English constitution was removed from the bar exams in the early 1970s. Infiltration instead of invasion, brackets, fading society. He won. His name was Granville Sharp. Look him up. Yours sincerely, Graham Moore. Right. So again, I just want to make sure you get that. And then hopefully I'm going to go back to this element because this is really important. There was an opinion piece, which I'm going to show you now. By the way, this is all on the Danny Dragon channel, right? Telegraph, become an adult, gaining responsibility, right? It was with respect to I applied to Andrew Roberts' article, never replied to me, 1st of February 2020. This article goes some way to shedding light on the history of the laws of England. There is no such thing as a British law, yet fails to detail the most obvious. In fact, it mentions exams in the future, yet fails to mention why the curriculum syllabus and bar exams from 1970 onwards exclude civic and constitutional law, rather an important point, I would suggest. The reason, I contend, is an intention by the elites, ruling classes. I'm going to have to change things like that. Don't call them elites because they're not. In fact, many of these people interbreed and have actually got a sub-IQ level. That they are highly educated, but no common sense whatsoever. In fact, it is the workers who don't interbreed who have far higher intelligence. And I must say, the women of commoners are much better in lots of things that they do. For example, cooking. What do you think I'm talking about? Right? Marxists and socialists in all forms, their enemy is our written constitution, and the enemy will always attack what they fear most. There is nothing more powerful than the English constitution, but only if it is enforced, which is one of the reasons why we're taking this forward at the moment. Right? There are many constitutional and ancient laws and customs that are forever unalterable. In fact, there is a case where the judgment states that. 1953, Scots, CS1IH, blah, blah, blah. 1953, there it is there. I've put the link in there. Further, the treaty and the associated legislation by which the Parliament of Great Britain was brought into being as a successor of the separate parliaments of Scotland and England contains some clauses which expressly reserve the Parliament of Great Britain powers of subsequent modification, and other clauses which either contain no such power or emphatically exclude subsequent alteration by declarations that the provisions shall be fundamental and unalterable in all time coming, or declarations of like effect. Why is this important? Because you can't say you're sovereign, right? And then this information sits there, and that's the actual acts of union, right? Exclude subsequent alteration by direction, that provision shall be fundamental and unalterable in all time coming, or declarations of like effect. I have never been able to understand how it is possible to reconcile with elementary canons of construction the adoption of the English constitutional theorists of the same attitude to these markedly different types of provisions. And that is what we speak about. And just to make sure everyone understands this, there's a great book here. It's called Reading Law, Interpreting the Legal Text, and Antonin Scalia. Why it's important? Because he was a very good Supreme Court judge. In fact, there's some fantastic cases in it. The Kerr case, or her case, being one of the ones where he refers to the Second Amendment and explains to the Americans as a Supreme Court justice where it actually come from, and he says it comes from the English Bill of Rights, right? Well, it was a pre-existing right, so it's entrenched in England and to us, right? So the laws of England are the birthright of the people thereof. Where does that come from? Act of Settlement 1701, Chapter 4, right? And again, all of this is going to be, we're going to be talking about this in a court soon. The Lord Advocate conceded this point by admitting that the Parliament of Great Britain could not repeal or alter such fundamental and essential conditions. He was doubtless influenced in making this concession by the modified views expressed by Dicey, in his later work entitled Thoughts on the Scottish Union, from which I take this passage. Right, so at page 252 to 253, this is the bit that remember what I said, what this is, what Dicey really said. It's true, the judiciary knows the Constitution and they are lying to you, right? So the statesman of 1700, though giving full sovereign power to Parliament of Great Britain, what he means is the legislature, clearly believed in the possibility of creating an absolutely sovereign legislature, which should yet be bound by unalterable laws, right? And I have not found in the Union legislation any provision that the Parliament of Great Britain should be absolutely sovereign, in the sense that the Parliament should be free to alter the Treaty of Will, right? By reading this judgment and Blackstone's commentary of the laws of England, one should now bring in one or two of these constitutional written laws bound by solemn oath. And it's really important you understand what a solemn oath is. Solemn oath is to God, right? And it's really, really, really the most serious oath that you can take, right? Constitutional written laws by solemn and convention, completely important. Everyone keeps talking about the European Convention on Human Rights. They have written into that those rights that they give you are qualifiable. So if the state was to create an emergency, let's say someone was doing some form of gain of function, whatever, and something was released and they said it's a national emergency, they can remove all your rights because they're qualifiable. But who has created the emergency in the first place? The government, using your tax money, right? Because they're robbing you, basically. The next element that people need to understand is the English Bill of Rights came from a convention parliament, and there are no such qualifications, right? They don't qualify them rights. They are inalienable, God-given rights. So again, the Bill of Rights of 1688-89, public law is the bill, clearly states the Bill of Rights 1688 adjudged. It tells the judiciary that you can judge primary law. The Bill of Rights 1688 for all time to come. The Bill of Rights 1688 forever, 3 times. The Bill of Rights 1688 shall stand and remain and be the law of this realm forever. That's what it says, right? And by no means least supremacy. The Bill of Rights 1688. And I do declare that no foreign prince, person, prelate, state or pontificate hath or ought to have any jurisdictional power, superiority or preeminence or authority, ecclesiastical or spiritual, within this realm, so help me God. solemn, right? Moving to the Bill of Rights, 1688-89, authority, private law, the most powerful authority, the Convention of the 1688 and its outcome, the Declaration of Rights, read to and signed by both William and Mary. This convention is important to England as the Magna Carta of 1215 and restates our rights. It is the detail and record of this convention that truly holds the keys to liberty and freedom of the people, including the right to bear arms in self-defense, a right which was subsequently passed to and included in our American brothers and sisters Constitution. The Coronation Oath Act of 1688, sworn by Her Majesty the Queen on June 2nd, 1953, and the substance of that oath being declared still valid on July 20th, 1988 by Her Majesty to both Houses of Parliament, a declaration in law, and my camera has gone off, restated and confirmed by Betty Boothroyd, Speaker of the House of Commons in Parliament, as advice to the courts in 1993. The Crown and Parliament Act 1688, the Act of Settlement 1701, and of course the Acts of Union 1706 did not diminish these ancient laws and customs. In fact, it enshrined them for all time to come. So then we come to Dicey. What did he say with reference to our Constitution? All the conventions of the Constitution, said Dicey, were intended to secure the ultimate supremacy of the electorate as the true political sovereign of the state. In other words, he was telling you, you are sovereign. Constitutional maxims are subordinate and subservient to the fundamental principle of popular sovereignty, page 253. And now the issue of treaties and how very illegal, unlawful, unconstitutional, and extremely dishonest. Let me see if I can take that one off. Right, so I've took that off, and I'm just going to read you this, and then I may have to read. You might have to stay there, and I'll have to read. But I don't know why it's doing this. I think it's running out of space where I've got so much stuff on it again. Regions are construct to plan of the plan to divide England. Not so much little Englanders, as England is too big. I quite like England as counties, districts and parishes, and obviously shires. Treaty of Rome, 1957. Maastricht Treaty, no referendum. 1997, Amsterdam Treaty, no referendum. 2001, Nice Treaty, no referendum. 2007, Lisbon Treaty, no referendum. Treaty of Rome 1957, which we were lied to about, see below. Initially known as the treaty establishing the European Economic Community for EEC Treaty in short, its name has been retrospectively amended on several occasions since 1957. The Maastricht Treaty of 1992 removed the word economic from the Treaty of Rome's official title, and in 2009, the Lisbon Treaty renamed it the Treaty on the Functioning of the European Union. As you can see, there is a deliberate sleight of hand. It's called fraud, right? There's the word. I've used it. They have defrauded you out of your rights and your constitutional rights. The regions are seriously dangerous to England, solely intended to destroy and erase England from the map and the common law. There are 9 regions of England, according to the European Union mandate and plan. However, Scotland will remain a single region, and it is a region. It's already a region of the EU. They've already got rid of, and I'll go into that now. One reason it is now a single police constabulary instead of 7. Its national identity remains intact. The same for Wales and Northern Ireland, although the eventual intention of the EU is to create a single Republic of Ireland. And that's why they're flooding Southern Ireland now with migrants. Northern Ireland need to seriously understand what is under attack, right? And Northern Ireland, they're more English than the English, and that is why they're under attack. And they certainly know what the English Bill of Rights is, and King Billy, right? And there is a big difference between a unionist, which is in effect the enemy, and a loyalist, which is loyal to King Billy and the English Bill of Rights and the Constitution, right? Now, do you understand that nations and regions of the United Kingdom are in effect code for the breakup and division of England. Right. So everyone out there, if you understand what I've just said, let me know in the chat. I agree with Winston, but do not be fooled by Boris Johnson or any political system which believes it is sovereign. Nothing can save England if she will not save herself. Winston Churchill told his countrymen on St George's Day, 1933. If we lose faith in ourselves, in our capacity to guide and govern, if we lose our will to live, then indeed our story is told. Now shall we have the first English national referendum on English independence? I believe we should. And again, that information is on there. If anyone wants to go and see that or publish it or do what you want to do with it, there's a lot of articles on there that are absolutely crucial, and everyone, I believe, should have access to that information. It's pretty succinct, and it's in layperson's terms. And again, I just want to be very honest with people. I've been doing this a long time, a very long time. I am not interested in the British Union whatsoever. It is being used to destroy England. England is my nation. My heritage is England. My inheritance rights are the laws of England. And that's what all of you should understand. So what I am going to do now is put my camera back on and see if it's actually going to come back on. Stop sharing. So I'm going to hit this. If it doesn't come back on, what I'm going to have to do, I won't end the stream. Keep on there, right? So what I'm going to stay on there, I'll be back in about 10 seconds. What I'm going to do is there you go. Hopefully I'm back and you can see me, right? Can you see me again? I don't know why it's playing up. I personally believe we're under attack in the ether because but eventually if we can keep going with these wonderful seminars, etc., and building the membership, it's down to you. You need to start talking to people about this and say, listen, this is the brand of England, and manifesto is the constitution and common law rights. All of those people who stood up against the lockdowns, they we built this because people asked us to. And then, I'll go back and do my job. I don't want to lose my pension, right? Listen, some of us almost sacrifice anything. But there you go. The wee man, 5x5. And the wee man is out there. Let me see if I can bring this up on the screen. What I don't want to do is create another issue where I share something and it all goes pear-shaped. So if it goes off or that camera starts blinking at me again, I'll have to work out why. But as long as you can see me, don't forget, sharing is caring, right? Most important thing. You're the audience. You're getting this out there. You're getting the message out there. And that's all we need, right? You don't need hundreds of thousands or even millions of people, right? That's not what they want, right? What you need, right, is we the people come together, right, and start pushing this information. They are terrified of us, and they're terrified of real people understanding the Constitution of England, the constitutional statutes that can never be removed, right, and our full common law constitution, right, which spans many, many years, 1,100 years, right? So don't forget, the British have only actually been about since 1700, just over 300 years. But if you think about that logically, right, they only created British nationality and deleted England, Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland, right? When did they do that? British Nationality Act, 1981. Who did it? Margaret Thatcher. Why did they do it? I don't know. But Stalin did the same. He created, he was the commissar, right, of the Soviet Union identity, and he created something called Soviet, right? Well, even today in Russia, and various states of the old Soviet Union, 20% of the population still go, I'm a Soviet, right? When everyone else goes, boo, right? Because everyone knew what they did. And the Soviets and the Bolsheviks actually killed 70 million Christians, right? And they don't tell you that bit. Everyone talks about this Holocaust, the Jewish Holocaust, right? What about the 70 million Christians that were murdered by primarily, right? Something like 95% of the senior level Bolsheviks were Jewish, right? And as soon as you say that, you're called an anti-Semite. I say, why am I an anti-Semite? In 1290, we tried. There was 3,000 Jews in England, right? Listen to this: roughly 3,000 Jews in England. I don't know exactly because I weren't there. I know you all think I'm old, but I ain't that old, right? And what happened? Well, evidently they started counterfeiting our currency, and they used their jewellery skills to clip, right, debase the currency. So they took the edge of the currency and they got all that gold and put it in a pot, and then they melted it, and then they had a sheet of tin, right, and then they plated the gold over the top and the bottom, so it looks like it was a solid, proper sheet of thing. And they used their presses and their jewellery skills, right, to make gold coins, and then they used them in Europe to buy goods. And then the Europeans realised, oh, hold up a minute, this is all crooked money. It ain't real gold, right? And then they stopped trading with us, and it caused a massive load of problems. So the king said to the knights, go out and find out who these, but do your investigation and find out who these people are. And then there's 3,000 Jews in England, right? They then arrested 600 of them, so 20% of the Jewish population, right? And they brought them to London and they tried them. By the way, they tried to set alight to, I think it was Westminster Abbey. They had all the evidence, right? As you do. all the evidence in there, we better set alight to it. And that's what they tried to do. But 300 were convicted and hanged. But there was a period which covered Easter, and we did stop the hangings for Easter. Right? So we was we give them a little bit extra. We're nice people, really, right? But it was an economic offence, so serious in its nature that 300 of them were hanged. Sorry, difference in terminology, but hanged, right? And then someone said to me, that's anti-Semitic. I said, no, the English are anti-organised crime, and that was organised crime, right? Even in 1290, they were organised criminals. In fact, far before that, organised criminals. And if we was anti-Semitic, as you say, why did we only arrest 600 and then only hang 300 of them? If we are anti-Semites, we would have topped 3,000. We would have killed 3,000 of them. We knew there were innocent Jews, right? So we used our processes and we convicted the ones and then hanged the ones that we could clearly see that were guilty. And by the way, all them records, original, on parchment, all the records of the trials still exist. I'm surprised I ain't tried to set light to them yet, right? But there is the proof that we are not anti-Semites, right? Because if we had been, we would have we had access to the 3,000 Jews in total, and we would have killed a lot of them, but we didn't, right? We tried 600, we found 300 guilty, and we hanged the 300. The rest carried on their lives, right? And then there's more to the story as it goes on. But I'm just trying to tell you, Jimmy Savile was running the show for the Fixing It All traitors within the political union cult. Yep, he was doing some of the most evil stuff ever. John Golding, hi Chuck Money. Chuck Money, how you doing, son? Are you out there? And again, there was a geezer today. I need to see if I can find this for you. Problem I got is I don't want to make. Oh, this is fantastic, right? Vladimir Putin. They invented that Russia wants to attack NATO. Have you completely lost your mind? Dumb as this table. This is what Putin said, right? It's nonsense, utter rubbish, right? It would be rubbish if it wasn't a plan just to trick their own population by saying, help, Russia is going to attack us soon. We must arm ourselves urgently. Send weapons to the Ukraine. in reality, it is done to preserve their own, listen to this, imperial standing and might. I'm not an imperialist, right? I believe in the dominions because the dominions govern themselves largely, right? It was the British, which was an imperial colonising system where they controlled from London. Look at NATO's potential and Russia's potential. Did you decide we're crazy or something, right? And there's some more information, but there is something I want to put in there. I forget what his name is. What was that guy's name? I put something out today. It is really important that I show you it. Thank you, Frill. What Dicey said was true. Hollywood. I was replying to someone, and there is someone. Hopefully, we can get enough emails to him to get me, because I think it'd be really interesting. It's something, if I can find it. No, they don't. English. Don't forget, tomorrow night I'll be on the 412 channel. After this show, I'll jump on with our wonderful friend from the United States of America. I'll work plenty of Jewish and bring it on. Remember, Q always said scare event. There is something I'll put out there. The Americans are already looking at this and saying, hang on, the British have got something to do with this. They have. It was their do. All right. Key. I can't find it. I want to find it. How can I find it? What was that fella's name? He's just lost 3 stone, and he was on Twitter today talking about it. He's quite a famous geezer. 3 stone. Let me see if I bet it won't come up. Jenny 3 stone. James English, there he is. After 9 weeks, there's a great picture of him out there. After 9 weeks of intense training, I've lost just over 2 stone. I achieved this by running 200 miles and alternating between a 4-day and a 3-day water fast every 4 weeks. These practices help me reset and focus on cleaner eating, right? And there's 2 images of him. But because I fast and I've lost 6 stone, I've got to go back on me and doing different things and re-engage with my exercising. But he says, I'm back training hard after letting myself go for 18 months due to family, court matters and other distractions. However, I have no excuses now and I'm back in shape and fully focused on my work. My podcasts have suffered as a result with fewer releases than usual, but I am back in the game and I have some mega podcasts coming up. So I want people, if they can, to get me in with that. And he's in a gym, having to work out in the gym. That's fantastic. I love that. See people in the gym. I'd love to get in the gym again. I want to be the new Mike. Do you know Mike Tyson? And he never lost that fight. He threw that fight for whatever reason. Right? I'm telling you now, because he would have annihilated that geezer. But there you go. Anyway, so James English. And what people want to try and do is contact him on his podcast or whatever and just say, listen, have a conversation with Graham Moore, right? About all this situation, about the corruption, about everything that's going on, and just have an open discussion on his, and make sure people say to him, one, that I've been fasting, doing all this different stuff, and we can have that, and it'll be interesting for the people to listen to, because there's 2 of us that have done it, but also to air alternative views for things, right? That's what alternative media is about. You're not supposed to be parroting what the mainstream media want you to believe. You're not supposed to be engaging with their indoctrination, right? That's crucial. And then we've got some lovely people that are, whether they completely agree with us or not, they still air it. And that's the fantastic thing. DD, you see that James English and Sean Atwood don't really get on. Yeah, but it's not for me to decide who should get on and who shouldn't. Listen, there's some people I don't get on with. I'll try to keep my mouth shut. But never heard of him. Who? You've never heard of James English? I know who James English is. DD, did you say that James English and Sean Atwood don't really get on? Yeah, you don't really need to. Why are you bringing that up? Right? I didn't even know that, by the way. Are you on 412 Productions tonight? No, tonight's Tuesday, isn't it? Tomorrow's Wednesday. It's Wednesday night. I'm on 412. First Wednesday in every month. So the first Monday in every month is Dr. Peter Glidden. Right? Did you like his show last? Did you like it? He's such a lovely fella. Right? I've got to get out there some way and say hello to him. Chuck Money, Princess, Light River. In America, we knew in school about Queen shaving, but never said where and who was doing it. Kick Angel, exactly. They never tell you the truth, right? Simon Lacey, Iop, Tracy, Eop. Let's go and see if there's the Scott lad. I think he's Scottish. Stephen Whitaker. She believed in the EU too. Who did? Right. So anyway, everyone out there, English Constitution Party, England, well done. Don't forget we are a Christian group. Don't forget to hit the like button. It's so crucially important. Where are we at now? Let me have a look. There's still stuff I want to pay you. We've gone over and we are at 110. Keep doing it. And don't forget, I'm going to say briefly again, if you want some Ivermectin, these are the 20 milligram ones. The expiry date on these is 12/2/2027, and I don't even go by that, but it is there. So just there's 10 in a strip, minimum 6 strips, many strips if you want, £15 a strip. You must send me an email to graham.moore@protonmail.com. It must say in the subject header, right? So on the email you got subject, it says Ivermectin. That's all it needs to say, because I'll do a search and it'll bring them up, right? Crucially, you have to put your how many strips you want, minimum 6. You have to put your full name and address and postcode, and how many strips you want, etc. Right? And then I'll send them out to you, and then you have to pay me, right? But I only sell them to people who watch this show, and you all know, because I can go through the various things. I could go and show you that. On Daddy Dragon's website, there's a big thing on there about Ivermectin, if you want to go and have a look at that. A Christian group would be well aware of the books of Daniel and what's happening now. Actually, I see something on Twitter the other day that really amazed me. It started talking about all these other books that were removed from the Bible, and the bloke said the person who removed them from the Bible was Catholics, Roman Catholics. But they're legitimate books, and it was all, went back into the old, it's what they called historic and old knowledge and ancient knowledge, and all this stuff was in there, and people was like, why did they take it out of there then? Well, obviously they don't really want us to know where we come from. A Christian group, blah blah blah, bands. Any questions to me from anyone or anyone? Is Captain Tim still out there? Was he ever in it? Oh, yeah, Juicy and Lucy, are you out there watching this show or not? Greetings, Daddy Dragon. So true. Blah, 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 blah. Northern Ireland, England, right? And I would show that, but I don't want to stop my camera from working. I don't know why, but there is something it doesn't like. And I need to probably adjust that slightly. Let me have a quick look. Put in subject Ivermectin. Include in email your full name, address, and quantity, minimum 62 graham.moore@protonmail. That's it. And then just come back to me, and I'll put that out to you. That's it. I'm waiting for questions. Any questions? Any gorgeous ladies out there that fancy getting married on a Monday? We can have a honeymoon for 5 days, and then if you fancy it, we don't fancy it. Captain Tim can divorce us on a Friday. I'll run through the divorce protocol with him. Right, so just I have actually spoken to someone and said, why don't you come out on that boat and I'll marry her? And she was like, She knows I'm serious, by the way. I said, come out on that boat and I'll marry her. And Captain Tim, but you've got to be on the water. It's much first, and have the dolphins. Right? It's much preferable. Militia 1688. How you doing, Militia 1688? Who else we got here? Tracy Green. Daddy Dragon, the full English show website, Heart, Daddy Dragon, blah, blah, blah. There's a lot of them out there. I wanted to show you more, but I know what goes on when I try and share something, it all goes off. But share this as much as you can, right? Because sharing is caring. Just to give you some updates on information, I'm receiving lots of bits of paper and people coming back to me, and they're gearing up for this June the 13th, and they don't like it, by the way, that I am considered a layperson, even though I'm a paralegal. And I did want to try and show you, but I can't show you my paralegal certificate. They just don't like it, right? They hate it. And I'm a constitutional. That's it. I just do the Constitution, constitutional law, common law rights. That's it. I'm not interested in any other bullshit, and I'll always use that as the number one laws, right? Because the Constitution is number one. There is nothing else that can top it. And the common law sits next to it. English, Llewellyn, hello. Hi, James, blessings. Anyone else want to know anything? Please subscribe and share. So don't forget, I will be, I'm hoping to get, let me see if I can go on that and see if anything's coming up. This isn't Mr. Blue, someone's just mentioned that. Someone on channel mentioned Mr. Blue. I found it and sent it to you in WhatsApp. Let me have a look at that one. I don't know what that one. What's that one? Let's see what that is. Sashman Les.
There she is, all pointed up. Pointy.
I could do that. Yeah, so, I wanted to work with Les, but I think his wife said, no, you'll be out on the piss with him all the time. I will be there on the 13th. Luke, 1956, thank you. You're an absolute blinder. Kick some arse, DD. That's what we intend to, but I'll do it in a pleasant way, and I am literally looking forward to it. Exactly right, DD. We will win using the law of England and Wales. Exactly. It is the law of England and Wales. Wales is a common law jurisdiction. It is unfortunately been hijacked by communists in a big way. So everyone, Goonamum, the fact we had the Constitution to do too long ago proves how wonderful people we are, and they'll also invade us. Unfortunately, strong defence when we get in. Simon Lacey, hence 50 years later, is a jubilee. Don't know what that's referred to. Grain banker, how you doing, son? The Attorney General is being exposed. He's probably been exposing himself for years. Right. Chris Ossie, how you doing, son? Hiya, Chris Ossie. Tracy, Truism. Also the case for a recanting function. GoFundMe, yeah, we do need funding. There's been some great donations. Thanks, DD. Good night, and God bless everyone. And don't forget, I'm not interested in any way or form, right? If you're reasonably rich, right, you've got no kids, and don't leave it to the cat's home or the dog's home. If you want to leave it to me, I will put it to good use, and it was only going to be used for this, right? If you're out there and you know someone who's got a yacht, right, and they're an old couple, and they've got this yacht and they want something to sail around the world in it, and it's big enough for two people, blah blah blah, and they want to donate it. Got no issues with it, right? You want to donate that? Someone should donate the motorbike, by the way, which I'm very happy with. I mean, I've got to speak to my mate to see if I can pick it up and clean it up because it ain't been used for a while. But it's one of them things. Listen, I'm happy. Just posted this to Robert Barnes. Oh, good. All right. So try and get hold of Robert Barnes because he's a bit of a funny one, him. I don't know about him really, but listen, whoever you want me to talk to, I'll talk to. All right. Tommy Robinson won't talk to me because I think he's on the other side. The wee man DD, send me the amended seminar flyer. I haven't got the amended seminar flyer because I'm waiting for someone to amend it for us. I've asked him. but he doesn't operate like that. He don't even watch the show every night. But he watches the show most days. Has he actually seen it? No, he ain't seen it. Right? Oh, and I'll be on another large subscriber channel on YouTube. I'm doing an interview with someone. I'm not going to tell you who he is yet. Or should I? Yeah, I will. Chris Thrall. I'll be on there. We're going to do a record of an interview on Friday morning, and he's going to put that out live as quickly as he can. And I didn't know that geezer who's going to be, wants to be, I don't know, the Mayor of London, was ex-Royal Marines. Green Baker, 199 million. What's 199 million? That's how much you're going to donate to me. I like Barnes and Viva. Yeah, but some things they're still a bit. Barnsley's a bit. It comes from Irish family, and he's still a bit. He attacks the English when he shouldn't be. I mean, the English common law is the best form of social justice anywhere in the world if it is applied correctly. Yeah, well, I'm on there. Well, he's such a lovely fella. I have to be a bit careful on this show because I don't want his channel being banned. He'll probably edit bits out if I say if he's not happy with it. So, whereas I'll just say it as it is. That's it anyway. I'm going to say I love you all. Thank you. Don't forget to get the donations rolling in to help us with this. And it ain't for a villa in Spain. It's not for me to be buying designer clothes. The only type of designer clothes I like is this one. Right? And, you know, well, you know me. I'm not into any of that. And I would gladly live on a yacht somewhere and just get on with my life. So there it is. Tracy, DD, can you play Land of St. George? I can try and find it. I'm not sure if it's going to go pear-shaped. That's. I don't know what's going on with this system, but they're attacking us in the background. I know that. So I'll put YouTube on there. Let me hit that one. Oh, who is? And again, Sean Atwood put out a blinding 10 minute. I don't watch myself, right? Sean Atwood put out a 10-minute video today, and then I watched it. I watched it because some lady went to me. Should I tell you? Listen, it embarrasses me, right? I've known her for a long time. She said, you know, saying, I watched your 10-minute clip today. She said, you are so she said, you're so handsome. You're so confident. You're articulate. You're just everything a woman would want. And I was like, why have I fucking got a girlfriend then? Anyway, there you go. But she sent it to me. She said, you do need to watch it. She said, because it just shows the clip of you, right? And I went, all right, I'll watch it. And then I watched it and I thought, it's like watching someone else. You know what I mean? And it was like, that's fantastic. So I'm really grateful to Sean for promoting this. And I'm even more, this is the bit I love, right? So go and listen. Go and get him over the 1 million subscriber mark, right? The reason why, one of the reasons I like it is because it's now showing, I think my first video has got something like 70,000. I don't know what the total is on the videos. I think the first one was 70,000. He said, you're really steaming towards 100,000 views. And he said, that's good, right? I mean, I used to get 1.5 million views. 100,000 views. But then when you look at, you know, I'm not having a pop at them. Well, one of them I am because she blocked me for no reason whatsoever. I mean, I think he had 15,000 views on his interview with Sean Atwood. And mine's like, Stephen, like, do you know what I mean? And everyone says, and your second interview where you just answer questions, I love it. Do you know what I mean? Listen, I may get things slightly wrong, maybe numbers or whatever. But invariably, if you ask me questions on the Constitution and certain things, then I will get it right. And it is largely in my head. But, you know, I've got books and books and books. If I think I need to read something, I'll go back through it. And it's to understand what's going on. That's it. Oh, no, I ain't. I'm murder, aren't I? There you go. Let's see if I can pull this up on the screen. Now, this may go pear-shaped. If it does go pear-shaped, I apologise. It's not me. It's the system. What I'm going to do is put that on there. I'll tell you what else I need to do is to change my quick feed. I'll put that on there so everyone's got it. I'll go back to that. Hopefully you can see that, and I will see what this comes out with. I need now to put this, because I have to take it off my speakers and put it on there, otherwise it will go pear-shaped, and hopefully you'll be able to hear it. Here we go. I will play you out with this and say good night. God bless you, everyone, and don't forget what I believe in. The Constitution is the solution. Let me go.
Revolution!
As is a nation, it's one nation of old, a land built by heroes, their stories we've been told, built upon a history of toil, sweat and tears, a Christian land of over 1,000 years. But listen to me, people, these words you can't ignore. Today England needs her sons and her daughters like never before. Feel the pride, hear the call, from Land's End to Adrian's Wall. This is England, the land of St. George. This is the land of the free, where the white cliffs meet the sea. 1,000 years of kings and queens, Oxford and Cambridge English law, Charles Dickens and Bobby Moore, Drake and Nelson sailing the 7 seas. But listen to me, people, these words you can't ignore. Today England needs her sons and her daughters like never before. Feel the pride, hear the call, from Land's End to Adrian's Wall. This is England, the land of St. George. And the Yorkshire Dales, the New Forest and the Lakeland Fells, and there I hear Wainwright calling me. Now every Englishman he knows the greatest beauty be an English rose, and within this land my spirit will ever be. But listen to me, people, these words you can't ignore. Today England needs her sons and her daughters like never before. Feel the pride, hear the call, from Land's End to Adrian's Wall. This is England, the land of St. George. England, oh England, every woman, every man. What became of Jerusalem in this green and pleasant land? I won't run, I'll never hide, they'll always see my English pride. This is England, the land of St. George. This is England, the land of St. George.
Oh, I'm muted. So there you go. Good night. God bless. Don't forget what I believe in. The Constitution is the solution. I need you to get the message out there. Hit the like button. Share. Please share. And most importantly, subscribe to this channel. What I want to do is come back to this channel, hopefully tomorrow night, whenever it is. And I want to see people who've subscribed, right? This is the place to be in the future. They're eventually going to take down YouTube and people will understand what YouTube is, right? And it ain't a good place to be, I can tell you, right? So that's it. Good night. God bless. I am off.